So in prior whiteboards, I've neglected to include our great state of Alaska in my drawings of our country, but I'm going to include Alaska today for an important reason. A number of years ago, states like Alaska, Utah, Colorado, Washington State, Oregon started doing something very interesting. For those voters in their states that were voting early, they added drop boxes all over their communities so people could cast their votes there. You know, at rec centers, at libraries, at schools. And it turns out these were a very popular way for people to vote. There was no controversy. There was no fraud. It wasn't partisan because Utah and Alaska are clearly very Republican states. And it turns out the voters actually voted in more numbers overall because of this system. So, of course, when the pandemic came around and people were looking for a way for people to be able to vote safely, especially when the mail was targeted and going so slowly, drop boxes became something that other states did as well. So you saw in the election, you know, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Detroit, all over the country, people really started using drop boxes. And now they're the center of controversy. What changed when no one cared in Anchorage or Salt Lake, but now they care? Now it's a big controversy. What changed? It turns out voters of color disproportionately use drop boxes. And I give this example in my book. Overall in Georgia, Biden won almost 2 of every 3 of Georgia's 1.3 million absentee votes. 1.3 absentee votes in Georgia, a million. He won 2 out of 3. Well, it turns out in the 4 biggest counties of Georgia where Biden did the best, 56% of those early voters dropped their ballot in a drop box. That, folks, tells you what's happening. Voters of color disproportionately use drop boxes, disproportionately use them to vote for Biden, and all of a sudden, they're going after drop boxes, either banning them outright in Florida, Texas, Ohio, Wisconsin, or making them far more difficult, making them the places where you vote more congested, limiting the hours. This is not about fraud. It wasn't ever about, they didn't care when it was Anchorage and Salt Lake, but they care now because of who's using them and who they're voting for. That's the trick. They did it after Obama with the early vote. They're doing it now with drop boxes. They'll keep doing it until we stop them.